The title of this video, Aliens declared war at noon. Earth replied by sundown. When an alien fleet descends at noon and delivers an ultimatum, submit or be erased by sundown, humanity faces annihilation. As panic spreads, Commander Elara Myles and linguist Dr. Kaito Ren race to decode the invaders' intentions. Earth's final hope lies in Sunfall, an untested solar weapon, and in unity. With war-hardened General Orlov pushing for retaliation, Elara makes the ultimate sacrifice to send a message not of fear, but of understanding. The aliens retreat and in their wake leave a signal. Coordinates, not commands. Humanity survives, not through might, but through meaning. The war is over, for now. The test has begun. At precisely 12 o'clock noon, the sky above New Geneva fractured. The clouds didn't part. They were ripped aside as something massive displaced the atmosphere, sending sonic shockwaves thundering across the mountains. Pedestrians froze mid-step. Children clutched their ears. Overhead, a shadow as wide as the city crawled across the streets. A sleek, obsidian vessel, unlike anything Earth sensors had ever recorded, descended into view, silent, menacing, and alive with pulsating veins of crimson light. From the plaza at Unity Spire, Commander Elara Myles raised her eyes to the sky. Her breath caught. She'd spent years preparing for something like this. Unknown contact, planetary breach. But she had imagined a signal, not presence. Her gloved fingers tensed at her hip, inches from her neural-linked complate. Already, the Joint Defense Network was flashing emergency priority codes into her retinal HUD. Non-human incursion. Orbit breach. No comms. No ID. On the stage behind her, the Global Peace Accord Summit descended into chaos. Heads of state scrambled from their seats. Bodyguards reached for weapons, too small to matter now. Elara stepped forward, steady despite the tremble underfoot. Then the voice came. It wasn't sound, not exactly. It bypassed air, bypassed ears. Every human mind within 1,000 kilometers heard it inside their skulls. Uninvited, unrelenting. You have been measured. People fell to their knees, some sobbing, others screaming. A little girl fainted. Elara gritted her teeth. You are inefficient. You hoard, destroy, repeat. Submission is the only option that ensures partial survival. You have until sundown. As suddenly as it began, the voice ended. The sky remained dark, the alien craft hovering motionless. But above it, stabbing through the upper atmosphere, more vessels appeared, aligned in perfect geometries. Orbit was no longer Earth alone. Elara's complate vibrated. She activated it with a twitch of her wrist. Myles! Commander! This is Stratcom. A voice barked through static. We got synchronized fleet presence over all major capitals. New Delhi, Chicago, Lagos, Tokyo. Same ship class, same transmission. Any response protocol triggered? No response channels are working. They're jamming every frequency above 3 gigahertz. We're blind in orbit. Elara turned her gaze west, toward the dimming sun. 5 hours until it vanished behind the mountains. 5 hours to formulate a reply to a civilization whose arrival rewrote every rule of engagement. In an underground facility beneath Mount Asimov, Dr. Kaito Ren watched the repeating alien signal on a multi-band spectral readout. He wasn't a military man. His brilliance lay in symbols, rhythm, intent, the language of beings who didn't speak in air and lungs. His workstation pulsed with complex data. Layered waves encoded into the alien's arrival transmission, all centered on a frequency no known species used for communication. His assistant, Juno, leaned over his shoulder. They didn't just broadcast, they injected this into our global resonance net. It's everywhere. Kaito nodded. They didn't ask us to understand. They only asked us to submit. Juno's voice wavered. Do you think they'll actually destroy us? I think they don't consider that destruction. I think it's pruning. At High Command North, General Darius Orlov slammed his gauntlet fist against a holodeble. We need a global strike package now. Target those ships. EMP blasts, orbital scramblers, Project Lance, everything. Stand down, Elara said, stepping into the chamber. Her face was streaked with sweat, but her voice cut cleanly. We can't provoke them. Not yet. We don't know what kind of defenses they have, or how many more are coming. Orlov narrowed his eyes. We do nothing. We're cattle on countdown. We have 5 hours. We use them to understand the enemy, not die flailing. No, we fight, even if we burn. Then you'll do it without me, she replied coldly, and without the Sunfall array. That gave Orlov pause. Sunfall, the untested Black Ops satellite network parked on the solar edge of Earth's orbit, capable of solar mass energy manipulation if it worked. If it didn't, it could ignite the ionosphere. Only a handful of top-level command even knew it existed. Elara had been part of its inception. Across the bunker, a junior officer looked up from her terminal. Commander, we reanalyzed the alien pulse. Dr. Ren says it's not just a message. It's a key. Elara turned sharply. A key to what? The officer hesitated. We don't know, but if it's a key, it opens something. Outside, across Earth's atmosphere, the alien ships continued to wait. They didn't fire. They didn't move. They watched. By sundown, Earth had to reply. And Elara Myles, standing at the brink of annihilation, understood with a clarity colder than space itself. The aliens hadn't come for conquest. They'd come to see if humanity deserved to exist. The skies never brightened after the message. Across Earth's major continents, a dim, unnatural twilight persisted, as if the alien ships had become part of the atmosphere itself. They hung above cities like waiting executioners, motionless, silently judging. In a subterranean command bay beneath the North Atlantic Trench, Commander Elara Myles stood at the center of a hemisphere of light. A tactical display surrounded her, a spinning globe marked with red blips over every known alien vessel, human defense grid positions, and a countdown to sundown. 3 hours, 41 minutes. Activate Sunfall, she said. No confirmation from high command yet. The tech officer replied, hesitant. Protocols. Override, she snapped. This is now a planetary survival directive. If we wait for authorization, we'll be dead before the satellites come online. The officer nodded, fingers trembling over the interface. Above them, nested in solar orbit, the weapon Earth wasn't supposed to need began to warm at heart. Back at the defense crypt in Zurich, Dr. Kaito Ren reviewed the alien signal again. Not the content, but the shape, the mathematical rhythm embedded between pulses. It was recursive, fractal, and disturbingly elegant. More than a broadcast. It was behaviorally reactive. They're listening to our response, he muttered. Juno looked up from the console. Meaning, every time we broadcast even a whisper, it alters the next pulse. They're measuring cognition, learning speed, emotional variance. They're testing us like rats. He paced. It's not a warning, it's an exam. What happens if we fail? Ren paused. Then they erased the experiment. The room went silent, save for the drone of filtered oxygen. Across the globe, similar scenes played out in hidden bunkers and mobile command units. Generals and ministers facing the same impossible question. How do you respond to an ultimatum when your enemy hasn't even bothered to attack? General Orlov had no patience for questions. He had action. In orbit, aboard the Horizon Spire, Earth's largest orbital dreadnought. He gave the order. Launch unmanned drones toward the largest alien ship over Moscow. They didn't carry warheads, only advanced scanning systems, jamming fields, and kinetic recorders. Data collection in the guise of provocation. The moment the drones crossed into range, the alien ship pulsed once, not with weapons, but with energy. The drones vanished. No debris, no electromagnetic surge. They simply ceased to exist, like digital files deleted from reality. God, one operator whispered. Orlov's jaw clenched. We do not stand idle. But that's exactly what Elara was demanding in the War Council, patching in from the Atlantic Command Vault. If we provoke them again, she said, voice projected across every global screen, we won't get another warning. We need time to complete Sunfall's charge. 36 minutes. Orlov leaned toward the mic. Time won't save us. Strength might. Your strength was just erased. Kaito Ren's image flickered into the council feed. His hair was damp, and his voice was brittle from exhaustion. The alien pulse contains an internal harmonic. Call it a signature. It shifts with every new human broadcast, every strategic movement, every rise in global fear levels. Fear? Elara asked. He nodded grimly. Yes, they are measuring not just our readiness, but our emotional predictability. They expect panic, retaliation, collapse. Then we do what they don't expect, she said, which is, we unify. The words hung in the silence, heavier than any weapon. An old concept, romantic and proven, but the alien threat was proving something else. Fear was a language they understood, and if Earth drowned in it, the test would be over. Elara pivoted the holofeed to every major news station. No script, no delay. My name is Commander Elara Myles. Some of you know me. Most don't. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we're facing an extinction-level adversary that believes we're unfit to survive. Not because we're weak, but because we're fragmented. Because we assume destruction is our default. She paused, choosing her words with the gravity of someone who might not get to speak again. Well, I refuse to pass that legacy forward. If this is our final day, then let us make it our first day of unity. No nation, no flag, no vengeance. Just humanity. One signal. One mind. One answer. The feed ended. In the moment of silence that followed, something changed. Over Buenos Aires, an alien ship that hovered unmoving for hours began to rotate. Slowly, precisely, angling its underbelly toward the Atlantic. In the control room, a tech called out, pulse shift. The pattern changed again. Ren stared, eyes wide. It's curiosity. Juno blinked. You think they heard her? They felt her. Across the globe, panic faltered. Not because fear vanished, but because hope, unexpected and alien even to humans, returned. People stopped fleeing and started listening. Soldiers held position. Scientists rerouted satellites. A single, unified human signal was launched from every frequency node left untouched by the jammers, harmonic, deliberate, composed not in defiance, but in assertion. This was Earth's reply. As the sun sank closer to the edge of the world, the first rays of Sunfall began to gather in the upper atmosphere. Unseen, untested, and waiting to strike not with hate, but with meaning. They had less than 2 hours. And the aliens were still watching. You said, the sun touched the horizon, bleeding gold and crimson across the shattered sky. Shadows stretched long over Earth's fractured cities as the final hour began. Above them, the alien fleet remained unshaken, their symmetrical formations casting an eerie calm, like vultures circling prey too weak to resist. But Earth was not still. Not anymore. Commander Elara Myles stood aboard the Athena's Wrath, one of the last functioning orbital carriers. Her command chair was surrounded by holographic status rings, each tracking a different battlefront. The tension in her jaw was matched by the quiet fury in her eyes. She'd grown up under the doctrine of deterrence, but today she would gamble with something more dangerous than weapons. Conviction. Status? She asked. Sunfall is aligned and charging, said the ops officer. 93%. Estimated discharge in 8 minutes. All fleets are in position. And Orlov? The calm tech replied. General Orlov launched without authorization. He's engaging the alien cluster above Eastern Europe. No reply from his cruiser. Elara exhaled sharply. Of course he did. Across the black, just beyond visual range, General Orlov's dreadnought Vanguard tore through Earth's exosphere, flanked by interceptor drones. He had no illusions of victory, only of legacy. Humanity had to hit back, or would die with his teeth clenched shut. As he approached the alien flagship, he launched a full payload of tactical warheads. For a moment, they flew. Then, just as before, the alien vessel responded. Not with defense, but erasure. Space around the missiles shimmered, collapsed inward, and every weapon was gone. No explosion. No residue. The Vanguard held position, silent, as Orlov stared into a void that refused to acknowledge him. The alien ship rotated slowly. A low hum reverberated through the hull. Inside the Athena's Wrath, warning sirens blared. They're moving, said the tactical officer, pale. All ships adjusting orientation. We're reading charged energy across their lower hulls. They've made their decision, Elara whispered. But she wasn't ready to die. Not yet. On Earth's surface, deep within the Atlas research crypt, Dr. Kaito Ren trembled over his console. He had been chasing patterns for hours, signals nested within signals. And now he saw it. The recursive wave hidden beneath the alien command burst was no longer adjusting randomly. It was mirroring Earth's unified transmission, curious, iterative, unstable. They're not just testing us, he murmured. They're waiting for reciprocation. They're inviting resonance. What do you mean? Juno asked. If we match their pulse and amplify it through Sunfall's lens, he said, standing suddenly, we don't just fight them, we answer them in their own frequency, thought for thought, intention for intention. Juno stared. You think that'll stop them? I think it's the only message they might actually hear. Above them, Sunfall hit full charge. A sliver of the sun, captured and focused through a relay of orbital mirrors, coalesced into a beam of impossible energy, tangible thought, forged in physics. But it had no target. Not yet. Elara received the update in silence. She looked to the stars, then to the timer. 47 minutes until the sun vanished. The alien ships had begun their descent. Broadcast all remaining fleets, she ordered. Hold fire. Lock weapons. Set relay path to Sunfall. Channel Ren's waveform. Use every resonance tower we still control. Commander? Her second asked. You're giving him control of Sunfall? I'm giving him a chance to end this with more than fire. The order spread like wildfire through Earth's networks. Cities, bunkers, submarines, satellites. Every node tuned to a single frequency. All around the globe, humanity braced. Not for annihilation, but for understanding. The alien ships responded. One by one, they pulsed, not with weapons, but with tone. A deep, rhythmic thrum rippled across the sky, almost musical, almost sad. A species that spoke, without voice, had begun a conversation. And then Sunfall fired. It wasn't light. It wasn't heat. It was meaning, stitched into solar matter, and sent like a thought made visible. The beam didn't strike the alien ships. It met their signal midair, intersected it, entangled it. For one heartbeat, the sky above Earth became a lattice of golden spirals and mirrored waveforms. Time seemed to bend. On the ground, people wept, not from pain, but from something else. Connection. Kaito Ren leaned into the signal, modulating. It's working. They're listening. But then a fracture appeared. Above the Pacific, one alien ship pulsed red, not in rhythm, but in rejection. Its formation split from the others, descending fast, targeting a major energy node in the Cascades. Elara's HUD flared. That one's breaking pattern. It's going rogue. Sunfall can't redirect in time, her weapons officer said. We'll lose a quarter of the planet. No, Elara said, rising from her chair. They need proof we can sacrifice. She keyed her comms. Divert the Athena's wrath to intercept. Manual override. Lock course. Commander, you'll... I know. Do it. The carrier veered hard, boosters flaring blue, trajectory set for the incoming vessel. Elara stood tall as the stars shifted outside the window, her pulse steady, her purpose clear. Earth's signal continued to sing. And far above, the alien fleet paused, not in fear, but in recognition. For the first time, they understood what humanity was willing to become. The Athena's wrath struck the descending alien vessel, like a blade of purpose. The resulting burst of energy lit the upper atmosphere, rippling through the clouds in a shock wave of white fire and violet distortion. Then, silence. No explosion followed. No debris fell. Both craft simply ceased to exist, annihilated, absorbed, or perhaps transformed into something Earth's physics hadn't yet learned to describe. In that instant, all alien vessels across the globe halted their descent. Their alignment wavered, geometry shifting as though the hive mind itself had blinked. The rhythm in the sky fractured, then stuttered, as if trying to reconcile what it had just witnessed. Not resistance, but self-sacrifice. Inside the Atlas crypt, Kaito Ren's hands hovered above his console, trembling. His signal wave, still synchronized with Sunfall's energy feedback, wavered violently. "We're inside the threshold," he whispered. "They've stopped broadcasting commands. They're listening again." Juno looked at him, her voice barely audible. "Is it over?" "I don't know," he said honestly. They didn't expect her to give everything. In orbit, what remained of Earth's fleet drifted, battered and silent. Communications across the globe stabilized. Tentative, flickering lines of contact restored between nations that had only hours ago expected to die apart. From South Africa to Siberia, emergency broadcasts quieted, giving way to strange, humming frequencies that no longer felt hostile. And then, without a word, the alien ships began to ascend. One by one, they peeled away from the atmosphere, vanishing into the void as silently as they had arrived. No message, no retaliation, only withdrawal. On every screen, across every command post and refugee shelter, the countdown froze at 0. Elara Myles was gone, but her signal remained. At the United World Assembly, resurrected now in a dome of hastily patched solar glass, leaders stood in reverent silence, not for victory, but for survival, and for the clarity born of witnessing the full measure of humanity in one irreversible moment. General Orlov, bandaged and silent, took the floor for the first time since returning from the field. He spoke slowly, his voice stripped of bombast. "She made a decision none of us could, not to destroy them, not to dominate them, but to prove we could matter in their eyes." No applause followed, only understanding. Kaito Ren sat quietly in a side chamber, surrounded by coils of obsolete equipment. The alien signal had left more than just impressions. It had embedded data, complex, encrypted, and reactive to only a specific frequency, Elara's final transmission code. He tapped the interface, accessing one final subchannel. The waveform shimmered to life. It was not a message from the aliens. It was a reflection, an imprint of humanity as they had seen it, recorded in the final pulse of Sunfall. There were symbols, maps, a starfield none of Earth's astronomers could match, coordinates, possibility. Juno leaned in. "Is it an invitation?" Ren smiled faintly. "Or a challenge?" Far beyond the moon, beyond even the Kuiper Belt, a signal blinked in deep, repeating intervals. Not hostile, not threatening, just patient and waiting. Earth had replied at sundown. Now the stars were listening. The title of the video, they called it a suicide mission, but the human went alone.